Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for February the 28th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast platforms around the world 5 days a week, it's your one-stop shop for all of the hottest news you need to know. Now that spiel that I just gave you, the intro for the show, if you will, it says 5 days a week. Unfortunately, we did run into a scheduling conflict yesterday, so there is no Thursday, February 27th edition of the show. Fire me, why don't you? By all means, please. You know what? You can't because I'm my boss in this little adventure. But we have the exact same stories on today's program, basically. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our headlining story. Most companies, I say most, they say more Destructoid, but at this point it really is most, cancel GDC showings, but GDC organizers refuse to admit defeat. The Game Developers Conference is still taking place in mid-March, at least at the time of writing this article, and of course at the time of posting this podcast, which is 6 p.m. on Friday, February 28th. Had to think about it again. Despite nearly every major exhibitor and presenter pulling out over health concerns related to the coronavirus, the list of absentee guests grew again today as Amazon, Activision Blizzard, and Iron Galaxies all canceled their GDC appearances. In an update, Gearbox just canceled too. This trio, now quad, joins other big-name companies such as Epic, Unity, Microsoft, Electronic Arts, Facebook, Oculus, Sony, PUBG Corp, and Kojima Productions, who have all opted to forego attending GDC this year. Now, all eyes are on GDC's organizers, as most people assume the convention will eventually be canceled altogether. That's obviously a worst-case scenario, and one they seem to be avoiding at all cost. As of now, GDC's official stance is that they are, quote, closely monitoring the coronavirus situation and will make a statement if their assessment changes. Meanwhile, several industry leaders, such as Iron Galaxy CEO Adam Boyes, are calling for GDC to offer refunds to anyone who chooses not to attend for health reasons. GDC is an expensive professional conference. Individual passes that grant access to educational presentations and talks range in price from $1,350 to $2,400, and that value is greatly diminished considering the major industry names that have pulled out. As Boyes says, quote, many developers spend their hard-earned money to attend and they should not be punished for their caution. So again, let's go ahead and run down the full list one more time. That is newly Amazon, Activision Blizzard, Iron Galaxies, and Gearbox that are now being added to Epic, Unity, Microsoft, Electronic Arts, Facebook, which owns Oculus, but they say two different companies here for some reason, Sony, PUBG Corp, and Kojima Productions, all foregoing attendance at GDC. By all means, if by some stretch of the imagination, the organizers of GDC are watching this program, or somebody that's watching this program has some kind of connection to somebody that's organizing GDC, cancel this show, because the point of a conference is to provide value to people. The point of a conference is to bring an industry together, and whenever you have a Thanksgiving meal and 9 out of 10 family members have some kind of other conflict, just move it to another day, another month. Perhaps they could do a latter half of 2020 GDC. But right now, there is no point for this show to continue on, but still, they refuse to cancel the event. And quite frankly, it looks pretty greedy because you have people's money, so to not provide the service and or product that they bought seems to be pretty shitty in my opinion. But GDC 2020 is still on the books right now, but ultimately no one's going to be there. Of course, many game developers are poking fun at the events on Twitter, but right now, definitely not something to poke fun at because of the fact that, number one, coronavirus, very scary, sounds very menacing, and overall, it's not something you really want to be looking forward to coming into your community. But on top of that, it's also very crushing for the business side of the gaming industry. That's also something to take into consideration. Now, kind of tying into this story, Plague Incorporated has been removed from China's App Store. Plague Incorporated is a game that pushes players to try and annihilate all life with an evolving pathogen. The game was released on mobile devices in 2012 and has been played by more than 130 million people, but has recently been pulled from China's digital stores during the coronavirus outbreak. Endemic Creations, the studio behind Plague Incorporated, issued a statement that details the reasoning for the removal. The game, quote, includes content that is illegal in China as determined by the Cyberspace Administration of China, end quote. Endemic says Plague Incorporated has been one of China's most popular paid games, and the team is working hard to try and get the game back up in the stores. Quote, it is not clear to us if the removal is linked to the ongoing coronavirus outbreak that China is facing, the statement reads. Plague Incorporated's educational importance has been repeatedly recognized by organizations like the CDC, and we are currently working with major global health organizations to determine how we can best support their efforts to contain and control COVID-19, otherwise known as the coronavirus. So ultimately, China pulled Plague Incorporated because it reminds them of the fact that their entire country is the basically respawn point of the coronavirus, which is now a close to being, anyways, global pandemic. And so this is something that probably isn't a good look for China, but then again, they've never really been one to value censorship or the freedom of speech. However, I do like the statement that Endemic made here. Excuse me. I do like the statement that Endemic made here because of the fact that ultimately it is a learning tool. It is an educational tool that helps people learn how the plague, the pathogens, whatever you want to call them, how it spreads through people and how fast it can grow and evolve and what exactly is happening. And so I think that the value it brings to the table greatly outweighs the fact that it makes China look bad. I don't know. It's a weird situation. But interesting to say the least that China has pulled Plague Incorporated from the App Store. Strange time to be here. However, moving away from the coronavirus, Rockstar's website has been updated with new art that could be teasing a brand new game. The official Rockstar website has received a slight facelift. Rockstar Games' official site was recently updated with a couple of new images fans think are teasing the studio's next project. The first can be seen by bringing up the menu bar on the far left. The background shows an android with a retro space age-inspired design holding a white Rockstar logo with a glass of champagne resting on the star and a bucket of champagne off to the left. Then Reddit user Pretty Flexo discovered another image showing a new look for the Rockstar logo. I could not find the image myself on the site, but Pretty Flexo helpfully saved it for posterity. While the logo itself has not changed, the design of the background looks like it belongs on the poster of a 70s spy thriller. Etched all across it are the words killing dreams, murdering hope, fighting the righteous, bullying the weak, and why don't you tell me what went wrong curved on the side. Fans are speculating this could be the start of Rockstar's teasers for its next project, but the second image in particular sounds very bully. Rumors about a bully sequel pop up every few months, so there is certainly plenty of fuel there. But when Rockstar first started teasing Red Dead Redemption 2, the dev posted new logos with a stark red background across its social media channels, which was later followed up by other, less subtle teasers. And so, Rockstar potentially teasing something new. Now, I will say, I believe what somebody on Twitter said, and that is that these are images that are probably part of an overall site redesign in some kind of way, shape, or form, because apparently they have been present on the site in some kind of capacity for the past couple of years, whether it be in a 404 error or if there's some kind of a dead link, something like that, you might be seeing these images. So I don't necessarily believe you are going to be seeing something that is completely and totally unique, but it does look like a cool design, and I'm curious as to what exactly we are going to be seeing from the official rebrand over the course of the next few weeks, because Rockstar obviously has something coming, and personally I think we could be seeing something GTA related. I would love, absolutely adore for the franchise to go back to Vice City, to go back to that 80s era where you have, Pet Shop Boys playing in the background as you ride down the Miami Strip in a convertible pink Cadillac. That is exactly what I would love to see because I love that aesthetic. But I suppose we will have to wait a couple of months and see what they have in store, and I am sure that as the next generation of consoles begin to launch, we are going to be seeing some kind of information about what is coming next from the team at Rockstar Games. Of course, their most recent release being Red Dead Redemption 2, which performed very well, but everybody's looking to the future, and GTA is on the mind. However, to round out today's show, they might not be attending GDC, but Kojima Productions is teasing something for next week. A new tweet from Kojima Productions suggests the studio has something to announce next week. Aki Saito, I believe I probably mispronounced that, head of communications at Hideo Kojima Studio, posted a message to fans on February 28th. Quote, "Sorry to be silent, everyone," he said. "I've been really busy lately. I think I can say more soon about what we are going to." Saito's message ends there, but there's more to the tweet. The attached image shows Saito writing "next week" on a notepad, which is about as blunt as teasers get. And so here you have the official image right here, man on a phone, writing with a notepad, etc., etc., and then, of course, Kojima Productions continuing the discussion here. Some fans went further down the rabbit hole and latched onto the fact that Saito is holding a Pyramid brand pencil, coupled with Saito's use of silent in his message. This has led some to believe that Kojima Productions may have Silent Hill news to share. It's a fun theory, but it's much more likely the pencil is just a pencil, and Saito used the word silent because, well, he'd been silent on Kojima Productions' social media for a while. Nevertheless, Kojima's studio is up to something, and based on an interview from January, it could be anything from a manga to a movie to a big new game. Kojima did say his studio is planning to work on multiple game projects, one of which would be a, quote, big game. However, he also said he is considering manga, anime, and movie ideas, which would incorporate designs from Yoji Shinkawa, a key Metal Gear Solid artist and the art director on Death Stranding. This could also be more Death Stranding updates, who knows, but hopefully next week's surprise narrows things down more. Personally, a lot of people are saying this is Silent Hill, and I just cannot believe that because of the fact that I believe Konami is going to be holding on to Silent Hill's IP as long as they possibly can. It still holds value. It still retains value in 2020 because of the name recognition of even just the playable teaser. And so unless Kojima Productions is really throwing around some money buying Silent Hill from Konami, then I don't see this coming out anytime soon, and I don't see this being the announcement. But what are they going to be planning? Personally, I think that we could be seeing some kind of Death Stranding expansion. I think that there's so much more to do within the world of Death Stranding that is something that would really be a no-brainer in a way. But when it comes to a new game, I think that's ultimately out of the question because it has been such a short period of time between the release of Death Stranding and an announcement for a new game. I really just don't see that being a plausible option at this specific point in time. But I could be wrong on that. However, we will know more next week whenever Kojima Productions officially makes some kind of big announcement. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. I hope you guys stay healthy and, of course, stock up on what you need because you never know how bad things are going to get. Am I paranoid? Anyways, you guys have a phenomenal rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday, and peace.